shadows I touch, it's always you.
Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our June meeting. So glad to see you all here. Okay, maybe if you want to open your camera, you can open your camera so we can see your faces. And yeah, welcome for new ones or our members. So the Matty Book Club is an English book club. And we have a very simple rule here. So the rules just please be kind to everyone. And we all speak English here, but if you cannot speak English that well, that's okay. Don't be nervous because we are all learning. So if you forgot something, you can ask the people in the chat. They're all kind, so don't be nervous. Okay, the theme for tonight is a night of poetry, and our guest host for today is Kadinda. Hi, Kadinda. Thank you for being here. Okay, and there will be also some friends that will read their poetries, either their own poetry or their favorite poetry. So we cannot wait for it. Okay, so before we go to the guest host session, the reading first, right, Shireen? Okay, so maybe I will choose from the ones that's already available here. Maybe Ashfalia first. Can you read your poetry?
Yeah, sure. Just hold up a second. Okay, can everyone listen to my hear my voice clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Aswalia Pramudia, and in this occasion, I would like to recite a poem by Edgar Lee Masters titled "The Question." It is from his book, From the Songs and Satires. Hope you enjoy it. The Question. The sea moans and the stars are bright. The leaves lisp neath a rolling moon. I shut my eyes against the night and make believe the time is June, the June that left us over soon. This is the path, and this the place. We sat and watched the moving sea, and I the moonlight on your face. We were not happy. Woe is me. Happiness is but memory. It seemed, now that you are gone, my heart a measured pain doth keep. Are you now, as I am, alone? Do you make merry? Do you weep? In whose arms are you now asleep? Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Aswalia. That's such a beautiful poetry and everything. But please, can you introduce the poetry, the poem, maybe?
I'm not exactly sure about his biography and so on, because like I actually don't really have like a certain favorite poem. I just try to search like what is something that I can connect with June and has something to do with moonlight and sea and night, some things that I actually love, and I randomly find this poem, and I think it resonates to me a lot because I actually ever been in this place before, someone leave me, and I feel like, oh, do you make merry, do you weep, because it resonates with me a lot. I think that's the reason why I choose this.
Thank you so much for reading it for us beautifully. Okay, and the next one. Dia, can you please read the poem? Dia?
Hello? Is it me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you please read the poem, or maybe you want to introduce the poem first? It's up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Time is yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Dia, and I will read a poem that I think a lot of people can relate to. The title, there's actually no title, but it's from the book called Watering the Soul, written by Courtney Peppernell. Okay, I will read it. The year had been long, filled with doubt and pain, and hope had been dashed for normal life to begin again. The days grew weary, as though giving was no longer a gift, but rather a trade for something in return. As though putting others before yourself was no longer taught and no longer learned. And filled with this despair, I found myself deep within the woods looking for an answer, some semblance of life to give me a reason to go on. I stumbled upon a bank of overgrown leaves, and behind the leaves was an old willow tree. Tell me of hope once more, I said, with tears in my eyes. Tell me how to live in a world with such cruelty and lies. And the willow tree said, there will always be darkness in the world and shadows that lurk on every path. But this does not mean life succumbs to such wrath. Fill your lungs with laughter and your heart with dreams. Fill your soul with compassion and allow your mind to believe. For more than this darkness that consumes so much space, exists the light of love to remind us of such grace. Okay, that's all.
That's so good. It sounds so lonely at first, but it ends beautifully.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to this poem because nowadays when you give something, when I don't know about you guys, but sometimes people give you something and they expect you to return the gift, right? To return the kindness. So I think it's rare for people nowadays to really giving something or being kind just for the sake of kindness. They always want, maybe deep inside they want something in return.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
I agree with that. Thank you so much for reading that for us. And for our next, Azar. Is Azar here? Azar?
I think he's here, the one with AZZR.
Okay. Okay. Azar, are you ready to read your poem to us? And maybe you can introduce the poem that you gotta read. Okay.
Maybe we can do the next one first, in case Azar is still having troubles with audio.
Okay. So maybe Azar will go after Yon. So Yon gonna read it first.
Huh? Oh,
Hi Yon.
hello.
Hi, can you read it your poem for us, and maybe you can introduce your poem.
This is a poem that I wrote when I was bored that Sherry has forced me to read in this occasion. I never actually gave it a title. Maybe you guys could come up with it later if you want. Wait. Right. Kiarin has also requested me to read it in a scary voice. Wait, let me think. Jared Harris. Okay. And I ran home and I looked outside and there you were standing at the gate. Except it wasn't you in the rain. Not really. And there you were at my door and your mouth spoke. There was no speech. It was more of a sound, really. Well, there was a yellow eye within your mouth and fangs behind your gums. It was you, but it wasn't you. It was something in your skin. Something ate your voice. It wasn't you. And you knew because your skin started to peel and the blood kissed the waters. What need our skin but the likes of you? And so I ran to my room and I locked the door and I rested. But my mind did not, for the sound on my door. It wasn't thunder. Thunder cracks, but so do bones. Okay, that's it.
Okay, wow, that's so interesting.
Hey.
How can you write? What inspired you?
So I was walking with my dog, who is dead now, and we arrived home, and I thought, what if this isn't my dog, but a shapeshifter who stole his form and wants to get inside me and eat me from the inside? But my dog didn't care because he was just hungry. So I went up to my room and I wrote this. That's about it. Poems I'm not really any good in poems. I don't even get most of them. They only interest me as a means to an end, to construct a scene or to tell a story. So this is one of them.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Thank
This
you.
is the dark side of the mind. Okay, this is the dark side of the imagination.
It's all sides of my mind.
Thank you so much for reading it for us, Yon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can we go back to Azar, maybe? Azar, are you ready to read your poem for us? Or is it? Or while we're waiting for Azar, can we hear from Firnita?
Okay.
Hello. Hi, Firnita.
Hi all, my name is Firnita and tonight I will read a poem that I wrote. It's called Pre-Loved, Post-Loved. Pre-Loved, Post-Love. 1. Long mornings and breezy nights. I sit on the shelf for seasons. For some reasons, I've been given dirt to wear on my skin as the sky rains more dust, but never affection. 2. A gold medal, so precious. You hang me on the wall so high, you have to take me down to be able to see me, to see you reflected on my shiny face until you no longer shine. Because I am no longer a gold medal so polished, you hang me on the wall so high, you don't make the time to honor me. 3. I have a tattoo of a name I am no longer attached with. He brought me to sleep and never finished me, but he read me like a limited copy, a collection of sacred pages, a fine print only one can own. But now He is just a blurry ink on my skin. And you are the letters that I am trying to write. So I hope you tolerate my dog-eared corners, my gaping plot holes, my defected pages, my folded wrinkles, and my stained letters. I hope you still can see the story in me. Thank you all.
Wow. Thank you for read that for us. I am in love with that poetry. Can I get that? Can I get that copy? Wow. Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank
Pernita.
you for the space also.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, I think Azar is not able to read the poetry. I think he's not in a good health tonight. And get well soon, Azar. Maybe we can continue it, Sherry.
Yeah, so the next one would be the guest host session, Jairin and Kadinda.
Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, lovely poems. Thank you, everyone who read it. And Fernita said it's published on my Medium. Yes, and she shared it. So for anyone who's interested in her pre-love post, she just shared the link in the chat. Where is Dinda? Hi, Dinda. Booyah. So excited to introduce and to have a chat with Dinda tonight to the Matty Book Club. Dinda is the poet and author of First Drop of Red. Ta-da! Published by Pop. And I read this, maybe it was like a month or 2 months ago, and I just fell in love with the poetry collection. And I'm very excited to be presenting Dinda tonight. So Dinda, you want to introduce a little bit about yourself and the collection?
Hello. So my name is Dinda, obviously. Wait. So I wrote this poetry. I never actually like planned to become an author or something, but writing is kind of like an outlet for me, because there's a lot of things that I thought that I wasn't able to express physically, orally, like to other people. So I decided to write when my father passed away. And along the way, I realized like I've wrote like 100 poetries, and I just decided to, I thought like it is something that's, you never thought that people will actually take a liking to your work. So I decided to send it to Gramedia, and I just forgot about it like the next day. But turns out they liked my work, and then they decided that they want to publish it. So that's the whole story of how I got here.
Yay, don't be nervous. It's okay.
I'm very nervous. I never I don't know. I've only done this like 3 times, like 3 times already. So maybe if I do it more, I will get less nervous. But
Yeah. And all right, so later on, Dinda will also read one of her favorite poems from the collection. But before that, I would like to maybe ask Dinda, can you explain a little bit, because there's a misconception. We had talked about this also before the session started about the title.
So like I actually had a lot of discussion with my editor, like what to call it. But then the thing about this poetry, it is very broad. Like it's not just I don't just discuss like romance or about self-acceptance or about depression. I also talk about colonialization. I talk a lot about my country, our country's history, Indonesia's history, and then I also talk about religion, and then I also talk about colorism, about racism. So it's very broad, and so we want to have like one the title, we wanted to have the ability to cover all of those topics that I discussed in this book. And the thing with the first drop of red, first drop of red, you can interpret it as when life started, right? When your mother gave birth to you, like there's blood that was spilled, obviously. Menstruation, like first, it's about, we also discuss femininity. So you're not exactly wrong, but it's not about menstruation, but it is like this book also discussed about women. And then first drop of red, the first poetry that was written in this book is about Christopher Columbus, and it is the first blood that was spilled by him started the whole movement of exploration that started the whole concept of colonializations and mass murders that were committed by the Europeans against Africans and Asian countries. So the title, my editor and I think it covers the whole point of the story, of the poetry, the diversity of the topics. So that's why we chose that. But yeah.
There's if I'm not mistaken, there's also one it also is about like a girl losing virginity, right?
Yes.
I don't know if that's like the right way to frame it, since I'm like a feminist and all, but the first time that a girl has sex, let's put it that way.
Yeah. So yeah, it covers everything, I suppose. Yeah. But yeah, I actually like it that when people thought it was about menstruation, so I mean, like, I assume that the title was interesting enough for people to want to pick it up and read the rest of the book. So yeah.
Yeah, it's also divided into four, 4, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, 4 main sections. Can you take us through the sections in general?
So the first part is the bloodline. It talks. So the first poem that was written is literally called the first blood, the first drop of red. So I wanted to give the first impression that people will know that this poetry also talk about history. So in the bloodline, you will find poems that talk about colonialization, that talk about the identity of me being an Indonesian person. It also talks about me being born as a daughter of a Minang woman. So it talks a lot about bloodline in terms of my identity from my mother that I had from my mother, and it also talks about Indonesian history. I did this. I think I wrote like about 4 poetries about the line of my mother. I discussed about colonialization, and then I also write about Bandung Lautan Api. So it is also about colonialization. And then I wrote about Skin of the Earth. I talk about colorism because I grew up, it's still something that we can still see it happening. Like, there's a lot of beauty products that promote skin whitening products, blah, blah, blah. So I talk about that. I also talk about me struggling with English, having, realizing that I was raised to think that English is the language of, is the superior language, and then realizing that my Bahasa Indonesia, realizing that I start to lose the grasp of Bahasa Indonesia, and then feeling guilty about it. So I also write about that. So it's the bloodline. It's about history, identity, and then I talk. The second chapter is wait, I also forgot which one is it. The living. So the living, it's kind of, I wrote like half of the poems that in this chapter was written when I was very depressed, when I was questioning my purpose of being alive. There's a lot of skeptics poetry in here. So there's a lot of self-doubt about my ability, my existence, why am I important, blah blah blah. So it's about the whole concept of living, living your life, your questioning why are you here, questioning why do you matter. So yeah. And then the third part is the yearning. So the yearning, it mainly talks about love and lust, but it also talks a lot about platonic love. So there's like 2 or 3 poetry that I wrote about my father, my regret losing my father. So my father who passed away, he wasn't actually my birth father. So but you know, I feel like I took him for granted, and then when he died, it really like I really went down a spiral of depression and regret. So I talk about that. I also talk about my nephew, and then there's the romance poetry that you covered in your review. So I wrote that. So and then yeah, that's about it. And then the last one is about the divine. The divine is I grew up in a religious house, but I struggled a lot with my faith. So yeah, the divine is more about me questioning my existence as a person of faith, and about my journey, trying not to find God, but trying to make sense of why am I a person of faith, of why do I believe in God, and blah blah blah. So yeah, that's about it, the book.
So as all of you can hear a little bit from Dinda's explanation, the poetry collection really covers a wide range of emotions, from several spectrums and ups and downs of her life that actually I think a lot of us can relate to. I related to a lot of it. So yeah. Next question I have for you is, why did you choose the medium of poetry to convey these emotions and these stages of your life?
I actually write stories like novels, but I don't think I'm good enough. Well, not good enough. I don't think I'm ready to publish it yet. But poetry, but I know that writing is my passion, because generally I'm known as a very bright person. So I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way. Do you sometimes we live in the way that people expect us to, right? Sometimes because you are known as a, you think that's who you are, so you think that's how you should act. So that was kind of a bit for me. I was known as a very bright person. It's just like people never see me being sad or depressed, and what I didn't realize is that I thought that that was me. Like I couldn't be sad, like I couldn't show people that I'm sad, because the whole everyone who knew me as a bright person, as a cheery person. But as a human, you have a lot of emotions, right? You cannot just be like certain emotions and then not express the half of it. And it actually made me very depressed. And I always like reading, but I never know that I like poetry is my passion. It's just like it just came one day, and then I started to write what I felt, and then I realized I know I like poetry, but I didn't know that I could write it. But after I wrote what I felt, I realized I like, making rhymes. I like making metaphors. I like exploring words. I like, what I like about poetry is that there's a lot of layers in one poem, right? Like maybe the first time you read it, it means A, but then after you analyze the words that the writer wrote, the intention of it, the wordplay of it, and then you realize, well, okay, there's another meaning to this poetry. So then I realized I like it, and it's very it was very therapeutic for me. Like it really calmed me down, and it's just like I don't know, maybe it's a therapy for me. I don't know, I never went to one. But yeah, it in a way it really healed me. Like it's really an outlet for me to be myself, to express the things that I couldn't express physically, orally. So yeah, that's why I really love writing poetry. I really love reading poetry.
You shared earlier on about some of the, I guess, experiences behind the poem. Would that also be the inspiration of the poems, or are there other things that inspire you?
Oh, of course. So I think it's 50-50, like 50% of the poetry in my book I wrote based on my personal experience. But I love to read. I love history. So I love writing poetry about history, trying to, write a perspective of something that had happened to other people. And I also, since I'm a writer, I also like to make scenarios in my head. If something happened to this person, how this person will react. I think that's why the man with the ocean hue came from. I never, had that kind of romantic relationship, but that's why I wrote it, because I wanted to give a new perspective of the whole love triangle or infidelity dramas that a lot of people are love to talk about. Yeah. And so mostly the stories that the poetry that I wrote either came from my experience, came from a historical figure that I like, or something, a historical event that had happened. And yeah, and then it came from a storyline that I developed in my own head. So yeah, there's 3 inspirations, I think.
Yeah. What's the hardest thing about writing this collection, or maybe as you're working on it, because it's a long process, right?
Yes. I think writing the romantic poetry because yeah, well, it's kind of sad to admit it, but whatever, because I don't really have any experience of it. So it's really out of my comfort zone. And I also don't really like reading romantic poetry. Like it just never resonated with me. Like when someone, write about someone that they fell in love with. I mean, like, yeah, it's just never, like something that I find very but so it's really out of my comfort zone, and I really have to push myself to explore the emotions and to write in a way that I'm sure people will find it romantic. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. And then before I ask this, I want to ask you first, which poem are you going to read for us tonight?
Wait, I am so there's a lot of poem that I wanted to read. Wait, but I don't know, maybe um the dark ones. I don't know. Is it, yeah?
You
Or
can
should
choose
I
anyone. You can choose
romantic?
anyone that you like. And actually, I would like to read my favorite one from this collection also for the group. The one that we were talking about, the love triangle one. So how about
Oh,
I read that one first, okay?
You want
And
to
then
read
you
it
can,
or
yeah,
do
I'll
I?
read that and then you read whichever one you want from the
Okay,
question.
so okay, you read the part one and then I read the part two, maybe.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay,
Sure. Let's do it.
okay.
All right. So, friends, this one it's actually in two parts. The first part is Man with the Ocean Hue, and that's the one that's from the girl's point of view. And then part two, Dark Eyes of the Night Beneath the Moonlight, that's the one that's from the man's point of view. So this is part one, Man with the Ocean Hue. On the moon, right before I bloomed, I came striding on our heels to your land, silk running against my thighs, ribbons tangled like roots in my dark hair, gold stars swimming through the night. The girls and I, we danced with our souls. Our bones were the instruments that moved the music, that moved the lights illuminating the shrine of us swirling into the night, with our hands tracing up marks into the air, graceful like a swan. Bending my feet until my dress touched the foul grass, I led them on as I played these songs from the flicks of my fingertips. A goddess, all eyes were bright and trailing through the fields, by the side of the road. The room passed and
Irene,
from
I cannot hear your voice.
oh no, okay. The room passed and went by as I moved. Is that better?
Still cannot hear your voice.
The room passed and went by as I moved. Is that good?
Yeah.
Flashes of the wooden ceilings, light from the diamond chandelier, the breeze from autumn's kiss brushed against my skin from my spins. I was a butterfly unraveling. These were the eyes of the lustful kings. But my gaze, my dark, miring gaze, they were trapped in your ocean hue, your stark, glimmering eyes, above those pursed lips, fingers underneath your jaw, arms rested upon the sides of your throne, made to harbor your glamour, put to rave for my honor. The music sang to the yin of my yang, calling an end to my muse. The room roused with whistles and awe, praising my name, relieving in the sight I became. But my eyes were just as leered as yours were too, damning the lady whose hand laid underneath your fingertips, damning the shouts that held you away from my lips. My fool's gold, my poison to your ivy, my ruin to your never-ending blues, my man with ocean hue.
Well, okay, so I continue to read part two. So the title is Dark Eyes of the Night Beneath the Moonlight. Wait, you can hear my voice, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's from the perspective of the man. You came striding to my land on your heels with ties around your ankles to keep them still. You were one of many, with your silk dress and your ribbons, got lines in the sea of the darkest sky. You were one of many, but you're a pearl gleaming beneath the lurid sea. With your eyes, with your dark miring eyes, tracing around the room, around these faces, upon these gazes, like an open cut wire, brushing the wooden floor beneath an overflowing sink. Jolts from the gasp of my lips to the edges of my bones, disrupting the steadiness of my heart's rhythm, keeping my gaze imprisoned, caged within my ocean eyes. I was an honest man willing to drown in 1,000 lies, but my hands would never move unless I told them to. My conscience could never run unless I held the door ajar, and my heart would never fall unless I let it. I had no one to blame but me. the fool covered in gold, the poison seeping through the ivy, my own start to this never-ending blues. And yet, would you pull the strings of my sanity, of my prudence, if I give them to you? Those eyes of the night, that gaze underneath those black strands of silk, beneath those blinding lights of the moon and the stars, upon those pink lips, coated in those strawberry chapsticks, drying my throat up to cry for a sip, made a dog out of this loyal darling. I was a moth drawn into your flames. You were the heat within the earth that pulled these roots in, my poison ivy, my start without reasons, my end without means, rainbow to my everlasting blues, eyes of the night that made flood out of this ocean hue. Okay.
Yay! Oh, Chica said, can you tell the title again? The one that I read, part 1 was Man with the Ocean Hue. And part 2, Dinda, what the title?
Dark eyes of the night beneath the moonlight.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, everyone. So I dropped the link if you want to order this poetry collection, First Drop of Red.
Oh, please
We already
do.
gave you. Yes, please do. It's gonna help Dinda a lot.
It helped me a
So,
lot.
yeah. I dropped the Topad link, but it's in Grammet too. So if you go to any Gramedia, you can also grab it right off the shelf.
Yes.
So the last question of the night for Dinda before we go to our breakout rooms is, what are your future plans that you can share with us?
So I think, well, I have this poetry collection that I want. It's mainly about euphoria. It's not the movie and not the show. So I want to talk. So this poetry will discuss about the many types of pleasure. So yeah, that's all I can say. So yeah, I hope it's interesting enough for people to be inside it by it. So, but yeah, but I think I have like several plans to write a novel. But the thing is, writing a novel in your second language is not an easy task to do. So you have to do a lot of research. So I cannot guarantee that, it will see the light of the day anytime soon. But the poetry collection maybe in 6 months or like that. Okay.
Yay! Okay. So thank you, Dinda, for sharing that with us.
Thank
We're
you.
going to go into our breakout rooms now. We'll break out into 4 rooms. Give me just a moment. In the meanwhile, here, I'll drop my review on my blog. So
Okay,
everyone
maybe
know how to check it
meanwhile,
out.
and also would like to announce, we forgot to announce earlier that there will be a giveaway by Pop Publisher in the end. So stay tuned until the end. And you can also fill the attendance to get the loyalty card there. Putri has dropped it in the chat. Okay, and in the breakout room, you can share about your poetry book recommendations or even read poetries that you like or your own poetry even, you can read that.
Wait, I have a question. Since I'm new, how do I get into a break room?
Here,
Oh,
I'm
later you
setting
will
it up.
see.
Yeah, I'm gonna open it all now, and then you just have to follow the pop-up it'll show up. Okay, I'm gonna open the breakout rooms now.
I think we should take a photo first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry.
Okay, there's an invitation, so I will click join.
Let's take a picture first. Is that okay? But some
Maybe
people already
you
go in
can
their room. Yeah.
close
Let's do
it
breakout
first.
rooms first. Okay.
Oh, breakout rooms first? Okay.
No, it's okay. I think we should just do breakout rooms first, and then when we come back, we can picture.
Okay.
Okay, everyone, breakout room first. Sorry. Trisan.
Iya, Ci.
Kok nggak di breakout room?
Iya, tadi tuh karena aku kira mau foto, jadi aku tuh not join. Terus ini nggak ada, aku bingung mau
Oh,
kemana jadinya.
aku ini ya, aku masukin ya.
Room 1 aja deh ini.
Room
Aku
2, Trisan di room
room
2.
dua. Oh iya, iya. Oke.